Basement, level vibes with another one, straight up, blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention. Education, liberation, we have to stand strong. Benskop upon the radio, lively up the program. Everybody call somebody and let them turn and tune and pon the radio and catch the boom song. We boom it up already, we have to boom it up again. Expose and reveal him. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop.
My name is Jasmine Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
Are you confident that you're going to deliver credible and fair elections?
Of course. Only one way I know, and that is the correct way. I do not believe in, there's so much negative things in the newspapers. I will not.
No.
Guyana really nice. Guyana, it's a nice place.
Now you see, here's what happened. I'm an AC. I'm 16. I turned 16 last year, September. And this happened last year, December. I represented Region 2 at the Amerindian Heritage Pageant that he had last year, September. And that is basically how I came into contact with him. I don't want my name to go out there with this because I am very much too young for this. I cannot handle confrontation, and I know for a fact that if he finds out that I am basically doing all of this right now, he might probably just see me as a threat, and you know how that's gonna go.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you, So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Yeah, this is the elite team. The root team. Strong team. Number one. PPP team.
All right, good evening. It's 7 minutes after 9 o'clock. My name is Mark Benshop. We are going to rock and roll for 1 hour. And for those of you who are looking out for me last evening, well, all I can say is I wasn't on last evening. It was a rebroadcast. And so we thank you all so much. You know, there are those days when you can hop on a minibus quickly to rush to the studio. Last evening, we just weren't able to jump on that minibus. So we missed the bus and we weren't able to be on last evening. So we are on live this evening. And to begin with the positive side of things, kudos to Roysdale Ford. Roysdale Ford seemed to be back on a roll. And here's what's happening. And in the meantime, you share the link. He was very successful with this here. I'm not sure. I believe there were other lawyers on the case. But what we do know is Member of Parliament and Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford successful in this case again. Another success story and another failure for Anil Nandalal. Anil Nandalal is getting licks like peas these days. The law books that he took from the ministry as he said, he got permission from the minority president then, Ramotar, to take the books, take stuff that belongs to the taxpayers of Guyana. And in Guyana, these things obviously seem to be acceptable under the PPP regime. So I don't know what he did with those law books. Anyways, the headline here in one of the propaganda mouthpiece to the PPP, media mouthpiece, guess what? Here's what they're saying. Government, I don't know what government they're talking about, but we can assume it's the installed PPP regime, wants CCJ, that is the Caribbean Court of Justice, to settle the law on decision to oust secretaries from National Assembly. Out. And Roysdale Ford was able to get that boat shaking and shake them and just ensure that they get out of Parliament. And now the PPP is jumping up. They're running to the CCJ. Every single thing now, they're getting licks like peas, and they're running to the CCJ. They believe that the CCJ is going to save them for everything. They believe that they do believe that they get friends. I repeat, for some reason, they believe that they get friends. They have friends at the CCJ, right? And I know with this ruling, they're not going to like these decisions coming out. They're not going to like these decisions at all, right? Auntie Betty, originally from Essequibo. All right, don't worry about the thing, Auntie Betty. Don't worry about it, right? But good evening to all of you. Rhonda Lane, I heard that they had some that Amstel big event in Queens or Brooklyn, wherever that is. I wasn't able to make it. Some folks invited me. These days, whenever people are inviting me to attend function, I just can't make it, I have a busy schedule. I have 2 young ones, and you gotta, when I say young ones, mind you, I mean kids, right? And not like some people who are into young stuff. They should be ashamed of themselves, those who are into little boys and little girls and so forth. They should be ashamed of themselves. And we can touch on that on some other occasion. But the people from the Alnis, the Oxtyle, and so forth, they invited me, and I couldn't make it. Philippine people, I'm sorry. I think somewhere in Queens on Liberty Avenue. I'm not sure when is the date, but if they can have a Cam Street reunion, and mind you, I said Liberty Avenue. I could easily have said Flatbush Avenue too, but Liberty Avenue, if they're having a Cam Street reunion, you guys know I'm there, right? Because I got a lot of former colleagues, classmates from Cam Street who are now on Liberty Avenue, right? Some of them are in Brooklyn too. Don't get me wrong. Let's don't mix this thing up, right? Some of them are in Brooklyn, some of them are in the Bronx, and some of them are in Parliament, some of them are in government and the regime. You know what I mean? By Cam Street reunion, breakdown reunion. What is it? All the lockups. Oops, I let the cat out of the bag there, right? Reunion. So not Denham, still alone. Colin Barnwell is asking if it's lot 12. No, it's lot 12 and a half. Oops, we got to be careful when we say the half. Jack Deere might get all interested. Maybe you want to go to Cam Street or wherever, right? Hey, good evening. Naughty folks. Some of you are naughty indeed. But good evening, all of you. Hope you had a great weekend. Sorry I missed you yesterday. Well, not that much, but I actually needed my rest, right? And I asked Wayne, I said, hey, Wayne, go take over the show. Wayne said, not me, not by myself. All right, so what else is happening in your neck of the woods, so to speak? Roysdale Ford again, licks like peace and licks like peace. And congratulations to Roysdale Ford, a member of parliament. He's also senior counsel. He is the shadow minister of legal affairs. So kudos to Roysdale on that. Hey, I want to show you guys something. I want to show you guys a photograph. You tell me what you think of this, right? I don't want to be the only one with an opinion here. And not all of my opinions are right. You guys are, it's okay to disagree with me, but just be respectful, mind you. Or else you're going in the trench. You're going in the gutter, so to speak, right? Oh, good. So here is what now. Look at the facial expression. They're giving Hugh Todd, who is suddenly out now. Because, you know, we asked, what is he up to? Is he really the foreign affairs minister? And so Irfan Ali decided to take him on a trip to fetch his bags all the way to China. So Hugh Todd is in China right now. And something about this photograph. I don't know if you guys are seeing anything or I'm just overreacting. I'm just overly dramatic. Somebody tell me if I'm overly dramatic. Ruth, tell me, am I overly dramatic? Look at this photograph. Betty, all the way from Essequibo, but living in foreign land now, right? Don't worry about the thing, Miss Betty. Right? Take a look at this photograph. Am I the only one seeing something? Or am I just too ridiculous? Tell me. Look at how she's handing him that cup of tea. Look at the other guy's facial expression. Karen Ann seemed to be onto something. She's not focused. He's not focused. She didn't really care. But facial expression says a lot. And of course, they're not focusing on him. They're like, hey, collect this thing quick and go along your way. So after Hugh Todd uplifted whatever it is, right, Michael Reed? You guys now seeing, you see? You guys are now seeing what I'm seeing. So let's see together. And then after he got that cup of tea, well, it's not in England, it's in China, cup tea. You take cup tea, you like cup tea. Okay, we give you tea, you drink tea. But Hugh Todd wasn't having it. Take a look at Hugh Todd's facial expression after he collected the tea. I don't know where they got me from, man. Seriously, I gotta admit, sometimes I look into the mirror without being conceited or anything because you know people say ego and stuff, right? Forget about the ego, right? And John, but where they got somebody like me from? Right? Look, after he received whatever he got in that cup from this lady, he wasn't having it. He wasn't having it at all. Look at his facial expression now. He's like, what the heck is this? They expect me to drink this? I must drink this and then knock out? Good evening again to all of you beautiful people, every single one of you. Hopefully, Shellan is going to be with us. We want to talk about this story with Patterson being placed on $200,000 bail for peeing in the streets, as they claim. Urinating. Sorry, I forgot for a moment. We are on a radio and we are broadcast around the world, right? How dare you, Mark? They got some people might say, "Oh my gosh, he's becoming like those other guys. They don't care what they say, but we care what we say here, right? We are responsible. We're soft. We're very quiet, and we don't put you out there and run up your blood pressure and tell you about all sorts of ridiculous things that don't happen. That is why the song says, we tell the truth. We tell the truth all the time, right here on 107.1 FM. So we don't run your blood pressure up and mix up a whole bundle of things and confuse you. We're very simple people. We don't boast. We don't brag. We don't brag about nothing. We just come here. We do our job. What we want you guys to do is to hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. And so let's go to Biden now, since Biden seemed to be getting the attention of folks, and we are not going that direction. Biden should get a second term, and you can't afford to take a chance with Trump and a return of a Trump. So you might as well go with what you have for now with Biden, and then you get it right. Biden's administration is not to jump into other people's country and go on finding missions and all. The job of the United States government is basically to seek business for U.S. and the interest of U.S. They're not going to jump and spend millions of taxpayers' money to go into a foreign land on a fact-finding mission. Some of these guys are really ridiculous, right? But look, one of the things I'm not really too pleased about the Biden administration, though, is that I think they need to get this immigration thing once and for all going. They have a lot of undocumented folks, kids, DACA, and so forth. We need to get these things addressed. We need to get these things addressed because it has been dragging on for too long. Either there's an executive order or whatever it is. But one of the things that Biden is doing, and a continuation of Order 42, I believe, on the Trump administration, is to make it difficult for persons seeking asylum. And, I'm kind of surprised that the Biden administration would want to take that hardline immigration support when it comes to asylum seekers. Now, the Biden asylum policy block, the judge out in California, actually, Tagar, I believe that's the name of the judge, he blocked that. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing because Biden should soften up his stance on the asylum situation. That's just my opinion, mind you. And Biden, they should start looking into immigration matters. Lots of families have been, they've been around for a while. Their families have filed for them. They're not getting through, some for 15, almost 20 years. That, to me, is a human rights violation. And suddenly I'm becoming an advocate for immigration laws. I don't know, Mark. But our operator said that attorney at law, Shellan Washington, is with us, which is good. She is with us. We are going to join her in just about 30 seconds. Before we do, look at this. I don't know why it says vice president, right? But look who. Wait. No, I couldn't. When somebody said to me, look, Mark, come. Look at your boy, Dr. Richard Van Westchard, standing at attention. You would swear to God that Richard was the guy who started the national service in Guyana. Attention! Photograph. Look at the boy Van West. Well, Van Westchard probably reached a point and said, "Boy, you gotta eat. You gotta eat. They gotta live. You gotta eat. You gotta survive." I don't know, but not me. Me ain't going in anybody's pot and eat just like that. Nobody dishing out no food, stale vermicelli and give me for eat and say you gotta eat. But at the end of the day, Van Westchard's got to look after your own interests. Van Westchard is about Van Westchard, and if he could I don't know what's happening in Guyana. What water are these big men drinking that they can't bear the chief? They just can't do that at all. I don't know, man. I don't know. Somebody tickle me. What the heck is going on with some of these guys? Van West Charles. Anyways, sometimes some of these things don't really surprise me about people at all. They don't surprise me at all. Look at your background. Good evening to you, Miss Shallon Washington. How are you and how was your weekend, ma'am?
Good evening, Mark. My weekend was really great. Thanks for asking, and good night to all your listeners out there tonight. Thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I know you are very particular when it comes to your, as we say in Guyana, Mati in Lindeners. Mati Lindeners. Except me, I'm from Linden, but you don't ever stand and pick up for me, as they say. But let me ask you, look at your Mati Lindener, you Todd. You Todd, in China. Look at the young lady the lady that's giving him that tea or whatever she's giving him. And right after she gave him that tea, look at his facial expression. All right, good. So I wouldn't ask you to comment on that, but I'm just teasing you because he's also from Linden, and Lindeners don't operate like that. They don't take chances with certain things. But you knew something was up. He knew something was up. What's going through your mind there? Please tell us.
I don't know. He looks like he's contemplating whether or not he should find a polite way to dispose of the tea. It doesn't look like he wants to try it.
I don't know what's happening there. Is he saying a prayer or something like that?
I don't know. It looks like he's contemplating whether or not it's a good idea to take the tea. I'm not sure.
Or he's probably asking. Anyways, it's like what? We got Wayne has just joined us. Good evening to you, Mr. Caesar. What's going on there with you, Todd, and this whatever they give him to drink? Let's start off with Wayne right off the bat. We're not wasting time.
Okay. Well, it looked like if he's trying to figure out exactly what he's about to drink. So I'm not sure where listen, although he's doing this, it doesn't look, very professional with his head being right down in the cup. He should kind of, do it a little different, kind of hold the cup up maybe a little more. So it could be more in line with his eye line rather than looking down into it.
Absolutely. And so whatever it is that's happening there, we are not too bothered about it, but we're glad that they finally decided to get Utah to travel. All the while he was sitting in his office in Georgetown doing God in heaven knows what. But let's move on, guys. We got some other far more important things to think about and to talk about. And let's begin with, of course, we want to begin with this here, Miss Washington, you being the lawyer here. David Patterson, Member of Parliament, former Minister of Infrastructure, and senior official of the Alliance for Change. David Patterson arrested on allegation of exposure of genitals. What's happening there? He was placed on $200,000 bail. Probably never before has this ever happened. $200,000 bail. Your take on how quick they were able to arrest him and able to, interrogate him. Something totally different from how we saw they handle the Dharamlal situation. Go ahead, Ms. Washington.
Exactly. I think what's going on here is the PPP they're trying to get their hit back, I would say, by taking this type of action so swiftly. Those of you from Guyana know that there's a culture in Guyana. I don't agree with the culture, by the way. I don't agree with what people do, but it has been around for a while. I mean, it should stop. A lot of people tend to relieve themselves in public places in Guyana because public bathrooms are not readily available in Guyana. As we know, You just can't, like in America, you could walk into a restaurant, you could walk into a business place, you could virtually walk into a lot of places and try to use the restroom. But in Guyana, on the other hand, there are not many public restrooms readily available to the public. So Guyanese has developed this type of culture because of the unavailability, more particularly men, I should say men, because you don't really see women doing this type of stuff. But a lot of the Guyanese men would relieve themselves in public places. So it's like a culture to them. It's not right, but it has been happening for a very, very long time. And I'm assuming that this is exactly what would have happened with the minister, with the, I'm assuming, again, this is just my opinion. It could be some other circumstances, but I'm assuming he was relieving himself in a public place. And some PPP person saw him and recognized who he was and try to make the allegation, because now they're looking to point fingers back at, the opposition or alliance, Change for Alliance, any group that they could try to point fingers at to say, well, look, they have people engaging in, lawless or lewd conduct. But I don't think this could compare in any way, form, or shape to what Dharamlal did. Because in the case of Dharamlal, he endangered the welfare of a minor. He's a pedophile. He's engaged in sexual activities with minors in the past. And probably if this didn't come to light, he probably would have still continued to do that. And I just want the public to understand how quickly the police were ready to arrest and charge. I don't know what type of investigation they did, but it's based on allegations. Now, why couldn't they do the same with Dharamlal? There was the same type of allegation. It was based on allegation. But they, in the case of David Patterson, quickly arrest him and charge him for exposure of his genitals. I don't know how much investigation they had done. This is a way less serious offense. This is probably the type of offense you would send somebody away on their own recognizance or station bail. This is not the type of offense that would require any exorbitant amount of bail. But this is what they choose to do. Put him on bail, charge him one time, arrest him very quickly, and put him on bail. But on the other hand, when it came to Dharamlal, they treat him with kids' gloves. They had to investigate. Then they had to send the file to DPP. Then the DPP had to send the file back. And this is something that we know happens in Guyana on a regular basis. People men in particular, relieves themselves in public places. So we can see the disparity in terms of the way the law is enforced in Guyana. It's not equal. It's not being fairly enforced.
Some men, not I look. I have serious issues with big men. I could understand little kids, little boys, maybe little girls to some extent. They're hidden and so forth. Mind you, you did say that in Guyana, mostly men. I have seen an increase. A lot of women are doing that in public now too. Lots of women. I saw quite a few of them. I was shocked, but I had to turn my face. A lot of women doing that too now in Guyana. Let's get Mr. Caesar, your take, please. But before Mr. Caesar pops in, I don't condone those sort of things. And it takes a special kind of men to just whoop out in public, regardless of where they are, and urinate like that. I wouldn't do that. I prefer, if I have to, and I'm forced to, run straight in the bush. Guyana got a lot of bushes. Run straight in the bush. But they get some men just step out anywhere and urinate anywhere. It's like it becomes the norm. It has been happening for a while now. They get corrupt members of the PPP regime who do that. A lot of them do that. They're drunk and they just, they probably, a lot of them urinate up themselves and whatever else, but they do that as well. But to target this guy, that guy, what's his name? David Patterson, opened up a heck of a lot of worms and the hypocrisy of this corrupt PPP regime. Mr. Wayne Caesar, your take, please, sir.
Yeah, and listen, and again, good evening to everyone. Good evening, Shalon. I didn't think I'd get the opportunity to say good evening, so I'll take it now. Good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Look, Mark, this is normal, procedure with men.
Some men.
Yes. You out there and you want to go and stuff, and you just try to find a corner. I don't know how far Mr. Patterson was, where he was when this would have allegedly occurred. But listen, Shalon is correct. This is persecution to the highest of levels here, Mark. This is not a story. Let's be honest here. This is just not a story. The PPP is on the back foot now, and they're just looking for something to try to gain some sort of momentum. But this does absolutely nothing for them. It just shows how low they are willing to go, as a party. And listen, to Mr. Patterson, I would utter these words. You have to remember your standing in society. You have to be aware of your surroundings, and if this turned out to be true, it was a reckless move on the part of parliamentarian Patterson here.
All right, you did say that the PPP will go low. Of course, the PPP not only go low, they go low, low, very low. They go low, low, very low indeed. We don't want to spend much time on this particular issue. We want to move on. We have far more important issues to deal with. This is just a diversion. This is a vindictive move on the part of the PPP. They arrested him. They probably would charge him, but they placed him on $200,000 bail, all because they're probably upset that David Patterson, anytime you start talking up against Tanti Moral, and Tanti Moral is Jack Gale, anytime you start talking up against Tanti Moral, he would, or whatever it is, would find all manner of things to charge you with. And this is exactly what Tanti Moral, this act came directly from Tanti Moral, where Tanti Moral, possibly called the police and say, arrest this man, arrest him. This is a vindictive act by Jack Gale. We got to move on, though. We got to move on. Anything else, Ms. Washington, on the issue before we move on?
I just think people need to be very careful in Guyana, especially if you're a public figure or people know you from running in any of the opposition parties. You got to be extremely careful because this is the sort of oppression Bar Jagdeo use, and they do not enforce the rule of law fairly against everyone. If you want to do this against David Patterson, the same thing should have been done with Dharam Lal, who went and spent a few hours in the lockup and then walk away on $1 million bail and wasn't even charged.
He wasn't even in the lockups. He was drinking Mobby and whatever else at a policeman's desk. But go ahead.
Correct. So, it helps to highlight the disparity with the way they enforce the law. The rule of law is not being enforced correctly. The PPP is picking and choosing how the police should conduct their job. And this is a problem. This is a big problem that has to be fixed in Guyana. The law must be enforced against every single individual in the same or like manner. You cannot have somebody committing a very serious offense like Dharam Lal, never been charged, nothing really happened, but then you have somebody as something as simple as genitalia exposure or whatever it is in public place. People have been doing that for a very long time in Guyana, and they know very well. He didn't rape anybody, or it's not alleged that he engaged in any lewd conduct with a minor, but yet they focus on David Patterson. Petty crime in the United States, that would be a misdemeanor. Misdemeanor. That's not a serious offense, but this is the conduct of a lawless government.
Well, when we are overseas, because I'm not known for the urinate around the place like that at all. I'm just not at all. I rather run till in the bush. Trust me, till in the bush, or wait for an hour or two. And in the U.S., as you know, you guys know, Wayne and so forth, you wanna urinate, whether you're in the streets or not, you got to wait, even if it's 2 hours. You ain't taking no chances. You ain't doing nothing. You respect the law or the laws. But in Guyana, you just pull on and anywhere you don't care. As long as you cover up, and you can't do that in the U.S.
But Mark,
go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No,
you
that's
got
okay.
to recognize the difference here, though. There's public restrooms readily or more readily available in America than they are in Guyana. You have to look and hope some private business will allow you to use their restroom. It's not readily available like it is. And we don't have in America, there's, where there's parks or public facilities, there'll be public restroom. They even have those Johns. Those Johns are readily available, but that doesn't happen in Guyana. No one caters for people might needing to, get to a restroom, a public restroom somewhere quickly to relieve themselves. That's not readily available in Guyana.
You got me on that one, and you are correct. But there are a couple of places when you go to use it, you got to pay $100 for one and $300 for two.
Wow.
$100 for number one, and $300 or $200 for number two.
Wow.
You guys, those of you who are in Guyana know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You got to pay to go and do that. And while you are in there, a security guard is at the door making sure that it's just number one that they're hearing and not number two. Mr. Caesar, I'm not kidding about that. People who are in Guyana are on the lane, and others who are in Guyana, tell us a little bit about that. One more minute on the issue, though, Mr. Wayne Caesar, if you have anything else to add, sir.
Yeah, well, listen, Mark, we talk about development across Guyana, right? That's what the government keeps talking about, development. Well, if we really had development around Guyana, then we would be having public facilities that people could go into and use. So listen, so much of the nonsense about development. Okay, we need to allocate monies, Mark, again, to do these type of things, have a bathroom, every 5 blocks, every 10 blocks, whatever, you have a public, facility that people can use. Hey, businesses are not always willing, Mark, to let people, into their business. Sometimes where the bathroom is located is in the back where they have monies and all other things. They're not willing to let people into that area, of the business.
And
so,
they get some Guyanese when you let them in, and by the time they left there, by the mess they left in that toilet, you probably might. It's another issue too.
That's true too. That is very, very true, Mark. But listen, it was a mistake by Mr. Patterson, and I know that he would learn from it. But it didn't have to come out like this, They tried to bring it out like Shalon would have said, like the Darmlaw situation. These two issues are not even close in comparison here. David Patterson didn't touch anybody, as Shalon would have said. He just went out there and listen. It was a little reckless on his part. He made an error. You always have to be aware of your surroundings. And then they were so quick to report him, whomever it was that would have reported him. It's
video allegedly. He's seen on the video and so forth.
Video.
Yeah. Can we move on, guys? Do we have permission from the counsel, the lawyer here, to move on, and the accountant?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Ms. Washington.
Yes. This is Betty.
Absolutely. What do you guys think on the deadly school fire cast light on sexual exploitation in Guyana, Mining Tongue? And this is a report from the Wall Street Journal. Ms. Washington, start first, please.
Absolutely, Mark. When you have a situation like this is gaining attention, international attention, I think we have a lot of merits to this, because it's after this fire that the Dharamlal situation became, public, and then a whole lot of other situations started to come to light regarding exploitation of the indigenous people. And, there's a lot going on around this particular group of Guyanese. And I think the article is 100% correct. And the exploitation is coming from the high level. It's not coming from the regular public, regular people, but it's coming from way up on the top. And I think this article is accurate. Whoever did the investigation and reported it in the Wall Street Journal, you guys know when something is reported in the Wall Street Journal, there is credibility to it. And that's what I want the Guyanese people to be aware. So if you see the PPP or anybody in the PPP comes and say something adverse to this article, which they try to do a lot of times, when things are gain international attention, they try to come out and say, well, find some sort of defense against it. But there is a lot of merits to the article. It did expose or brought to light this type of situation that has been ongoing in Guyana for a very, very long time, but nobody did anything about it. But after the fire, the fire made international news. It was on international. I literally walked into the office one day and it was on CNN News. So it did gain international attention. And I think in light of that, a lot of things people now start focusing on Guyana. Not that they weren't focusing all the time, because from the time it was discovered that Guyana has oil, a lot of people started becoming interested in Guyana. So this situation has been ongoing for a while, but because of the attention now that has been focused now on our country, now this is coming to light on the international level. But the people in Guyana knew about this a long time ago. We're aware.
We are, of course, Mr. Caesar, as we still on this Wall Street Journal story, they seem to be onto something. There is an apparent cover-up of a bigger crime. When I say a crime prior to this bigger crime where the dorm was set afire allegedly by a schoolgirl who was hurriedly charged. That's another question mark over that, whether she did it or not. But this story here, deadly school fire, cast light on sexual exploitation. Lots and lots of allegations of sexual exploitation, and that is coming, targeting these little girls, particularly indigenous girls, by senior members of the PPP regime and other unscrupulous businessmen. Your take on this article, please, Mr. Mr. Caesar.
Well, Mark, I think on another show I would have quoted that there's a little more in the matter than just the pistol here. That, based on the fact, Mark, that we would have understand that it was alleged that one of the young ladies, her phone was taken away. That kind of raised a red flag with me. And then also what would have raised a red flag with me is the fact that these young ladies are allowed to go out and bathe, and that's the only option that they have, to go out and bathe by a little creek that runs in the area there with no proper bathroom in place and these type of things. Then, predators can look at them and prey on them. So I am not surprised with the Wall Street Journal bringing forth this story. I am certain that this is accurate here, and I'm sure that the Guyana government, the Guyanese government, will not challenge this because it's accurate, and this needs to be further investigated, and the people that needs to be brought to justice on this needs to be brought to justice, because it was totally inhumane what would have happened to those 20 children. It had no right occurring. How do we not know that fire was not purposely set because some of those girls were disgruntled about what was happening to them and had planned to report it? You see, Mark, these are the things that we really have to investigate. There is a lot more to this story. We're not even close to the end of this, but it needs to be properly investigated, and not by the Guyana police force or anybody in Guyana. It needs to be outside investigators come and know how they're going to be able to pull it off. The government corrupt everything here. There was supposed to be a COI, Mark. What's happening with the COI? We have heard absolutely nothing on the COI. Instead of that, the government is hurriedly trying to pay off the parents. Over to you, Mark.
And thank you so much for that. I just got a report from someone who's saying, hey, and this is on the Guyana Shore base website. And last week we spoke about it. Wayne also mentioned it. And I think last week, Friday, it was mentioned again. Why is it that ExxonMobil and even these other companies that are making billions of dollars are not giving back? But we see here now that the Guyana Shore Base Inc. is offering a limited number, mind you, a limited number of scholarships at the following technical institutes for the 2023-24. Just technical institutes, mind you, scholarships for technical institute. Essequibo Technical Institute, Linden Technical Institute, Government Technical Institute, Myconi Technical Institute, New Amsterdam Technical Institute, Upper Quarantine Technical Institute, And it says applicants who fit the key eligibility requirements, blah, blah, listed. You must be 16 and 25, ages between 16 and 25. I'm definitely out of that. So is Miss Washington. So is Mr. Caesar. You guys missed that by far. And so the point is they're suddenly running with these scholarships now. But not only for the technical institutes, it should also be for colleges, universities, and so forth and so on. Ms. Washington, are you surprised that they're now offering these scholarships?
No, I'm not surprised at all. You know, it should have been done a long time ago because, to be honest, most of these companies, ExxonMobil, you mentioned another company that is doing business with ExxonMobil. I think I heard you mention another company just now that's doing business with
And
them.
the shore basis part, yeah.
Right. I think all these companies, they come to Guyana, they take from us. They do a lot of taking. That's all they do, a lot of taking. And it's hardly a situation where they give back. I mean, I'm not surprised that they're going to use the Technical Institute because that's more the place that is more likely to train people who can actually work for ExxonMobil or Shore Base, right? But one of the things that they're lacking still is what about the university? Why are they going specifically to Technical Institute and exclude one university Guyana has, and that's the University of Guyana? I do understand that the place that those people are more likely to be trained to get employed with those companies are Technical Institute, but I still have a problem. I'm still very, very objective to the fact that why is it just limited to Technical Institute versus any educational institution, technical, university, wherever they can find qualified applicants to go? I think there might be a reason behind it. There might be, I hope it's not, I don't know if there's any direct link to the sexual exploitation issue, but I'm not sure why is it just restricted to those technical institutions and not another form of higher education like the University of Guyana.
Well, it probably is an appearance that they're giving back, but I saw in a comment there that someone said that the technical institutes are supposed to be free. I remember back in my days, long time ago, under quarantine, Rosal Technical Institute, New Amsterdam Technical Institute. I had lots of older friends and relatives and neighbors and on the quarantine. They went to those institutes, and guess what? For free.
Yeah. But
now,
Mark,
and the Linden Technical Institute, they what is it, the Georgetown Technical Institute or whatever else, all these things, these schools were free. Now you have Exxon coming up and saying that they're offering scholarships.
No.
What the heck is the regime doing? Why aren't they just saying to people, if you think you need to learn a skill, come on, sign up and let's go? But no. Go ahead.
Mark, I think they're still free. I think the Linden Technical Institute is still free. But I think
I don't know.
I think the scholarship, which wouldn't make sense either, so you'll still be correct. I think the scholarship is just basically to give you money to go back and forth if you need boarding and accommodation or whatever.
The regime, any government should be providing that to the, I don't know. This is such a corrupt regime that, I don't know. Mr. Caesar, let's hear from you, sir, on that issue.
Yeah, well, Mark, I beg to differ on that. With them just choosing the technical institutes, because listen, you can train people in oil and gas from a financial perspective, and that can be done at the University of Guyana. Financial analysis, accounting, they can, give scholarship for these things. But look, Mark, when you look at the profit margins of these companies that are, doing business in Guyana, and Shellon is right. They're just taking. Those profit margins are so lopsided in their favor, that I don't even want to pronounce the numbers here. I would have taken a look at Exxon's a few weeks ago, and it is so lopsided. Because, Mark, look, the deal is horrible. We all know that the deal is horrible, and these guys are just walking away with a real making out of Guyana. This is why everyone, like Ms. Washington said, is flocking to Guyana now. But listen, you're in a country, you're doing business in the country, man. There are people there. It would not hurt, Mark. I am telling you, it would not hurt shore base to donate $2 billion a year towards education in Ghana. It does nothing. That does absolutely nothing to them. It's totally immaterial. It would be lost in what they make, Mark. Totally lost, like a penny. Maybe not even a penny. So these people want to take out, but they don't want to put back in anything. You know, that's why all these deals need to be redone, because it's too one-sided, you know, and the Guyanese people, you know, seek to gain nothing from these deals.
Absolutely nothing indeed, Miss Washington. Anything else that's bothering you as it pertains to Guyana that you wish to speak on before we head to the finish line?
It's just the way the government is so very, very corrupt when it comes to looking out for the interests of the people of Guyana. Because if you have these companies, these billion corporation, $1 billion corporation, what they call them, 500 Fortune or whatever they are,
Fortune 500,
making so much money, and they come into Guyana. And this is what they offer: scholarship for Technical Institute. That does, even if you give a scholarship for the Technical Institute, even if they were required to pay, it's not even the same as the University of Guyana. University of Guyana is way more expensive. And the government of Guyana sits idly by and allow these companies to come and take, as long as they have a way to make money, like through the Mohammeds. They have the Mohammeds in cahoots with ExxonMobil. So the Mohammeds are making money from ExxonMobil, and the people in the government are reaping their benefit from that. So they really do not care that the public is not really making anything from all these companies coming to Ghana, and they're taking all of our wealth, all of our natural resources, while the people, the masses, sit there, struggle, can't feed their children, can't provide a proper roof over their head, and getting evicted every once in a while by the PPP, illegally moved from their land without any just or rightful cause. And the government just doesn't care. But really, they should be paying attention to these companies. These companies come and they rape and they rob our country. They essentially, you know, I heard about a book called "Oh, Europe Underdeveloped Africa." We're living it. We're going to say how ExxonMobil and a lot of other large companies are underdeveloping Guyana, because when they come there and they take the wealth, they leave the people with nothing. You look at countries like America, the United States, they have a lot of they have programs, resources available for the poor and the underprivileged. And I think that is what helps to equalize the wealth gap, because those people have resources available to them. We don't have anything available to the poor in Guyana. You hungry, you're going to stay hungry in Guyana. Linden is one of the worst places for you to be poor, because there are no programs there. You can't, there's a lot of people walking around the schools. There's no proper program there. The government is just very, very neglectful of the people, while they're, rubbing shoulders with these huge corporations coming to Guyana and just taking the wealth. And they're like, you can have it because they have the Mohammeds there. And the Mohammeds are in cahoots with these people, laundering money, doing whatever illegal activities. And the people in government are reaping the benefits. Say they really don't care about the Guyanese people.
All right, Mr. Caesar.
Yeah, look, Mark, let's look at Guyana. It's out there that Guyana is one of the fastest growing economies out there. And as a public accountant, who also dabbles with finance, because I do have a master's degree in finance, I am forced to think, Mark, that we need to revisit what we use to actually measure the growth of a country. While it might be growing based on the oil mark, there is no employment for the people in the country. If there's no employment for people and people cannot find jobs, Mark, I am forced to say that a country like that is still in a recession. There's a recession somewhere there, because although the economy is growing, overall GDP is growing, a very high percentage of the people are living below the poverty line, and there is no jobs available to them. So that's something that we need to look at, and that's something that I'm going to put a little more study into, because it really boggles my mind how we could be talking about this type of growth in Guyana, but yet the people are left behind. I mean, a country, if you want to measure growth in a country, somehow or the other, it has to be based on the people. I think they're taking the overall GDP mark, and kind of allocating it across, individuals in Guyana, the total amount of people that we have in Guyana, which is less than 1 million. That makes it look like if Guyanese are some of the richest people per capita in the world. But that is just not actually coming to fruition because the money never gets to the people. And that's something we need to address, Mark. Look, I was speaking to someone today, and I was made to understand that all the streets in Pleasance have started. That means they've started working on the streets, the roads across Pleasance. Mark, that being said, yes, you're doing roads, but you're doing nothing for the people still, because they are still in poverty. They still cannot guarantee that they will be able to provide for their families on a daily basis. So this government is doing things very, very backwards. And I don't know if they would ever, Mark, have the interest of the people. I can't foresee it. Another thing, Mark, I would have been made to understand is that the Pleasance people would have gotten together, gotten their tools, their shovel, their machetes, their stuff, and they're going out to their community center to do a little cleanup campaign there. And it was said to me that they received calls somehow or the other from the Ministry of Youth and Sports, that Charles Ramson, and they're going to be coming to do oversight. Listen, when you see villagers pick up their tools and they're deciding to go and do some self-help and clean up their ground, they don't need no oversight from anyone. They've got their own little thing organized, whether they're going to do their cleaning and do their little bush cook and, drink 2 alcoholic beverages. That should be their business, Mark. And that's the thing with this. They're like pop salt. They want to be in everything. You guys just need to back up a little bit, put the people first, take care of the people, and stop interceding when the people are trying to do something that is right. You guys, the ground was sitting there full of bushes. You guys were doing absolutely nothing about it. The people would have decided to take the initiative. So if they take the initiative, let them go. Don't come and pose in your red shirts like if you guys are in charge of the whole operation. So Mark, the people dropped things and they left. That was it. Over to you, Mark.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Caesar. And well said. And the people taking the PPP PACUs in Freedom House and at the office of the president, just taking people too much for granted. But the people's eyes are opening. And not only the people's eyes, those in the international arena, their eyes are opening as well. Look at all these international articles from the Wall Street Journal, from Reuters, maybe from New York Times, maybe from the Washington Post. Who knows? Sometime soon. Who knows? But one of the things, as we touched on, the education, the free education. This is just a reminder, guys. Just a reminder as we prepare. Look, university education was free from 1976. Come on, guys, take a look. From 1976 until the PPP took office. And when they took office in 1992, that was the end of university education, free university education. That was the end. For 23 years, you know how much damage they inflicted on that nation? Kudos to the PNC from 1976 to 1992. You know how many of these guys, some of them parroting their mouth from Queens in some basement or attic or wherever, about the PNC and Bornham and so forth. You know how many of them benefited from that free education? But the Lagu Bagus in the PPP discontinued free education at the university level. Shame on the PPPC. For 23 years, you know what that would have done for the nation? But no. But look, Leading up to their campaign, they promised to provide free education. It will be delivered in 2020. And that was the election campaign, free education, as soon as they get in there. Now, over 3 years, they've been installed and nothing at all. Again, shame on the PPPC. Shame on those vagabonds. But before we go to our closing remarks from Ms. Washington and Mr. Caesar, a lawyer, and our accountant, Mr. Caesar, Washington, that is our lawyer. Let me not mix things up. This is the Guyana Shore Base. And this is what they're saying. Each beneficiary of this initiative, suddenly they have an initiative. Oh, good. Maybe they run away with the idea based on the discussions. Mr. Caesar, I think you brought it up. I think we are also giving out some scholarships here at Ben Chap Radio. And we will definitely be addressing your emails. We have tons upon tons of emails, but we expected better from these billion-dollar companies to give free education, a scholarship to people at the university level. But yes, anyways, look, they say they're offering for the academic expenses up to the sum, up to 500,000 fully paid, up to. It doesn't mean that you'll get it, but August 18 is the deadline. August 18 is the deadline. Just give them a, what is it? Guyana Shore Base Scholarship or whatever. Visit their website. That's what they're saying. But we don't know much about Guyana Shore Base or who are those people involved with Exxon. Hope it's not the Mohammeds, but it is what it is. Your closing remarks, please, Miss. Who should go first? Eenie, Meanie? No, I got to rush quickly and use the restroom. But let's start with Miss Washington. That was a humor there. Good evening, Mr. Patterson. How are you doing? Miss Washington, your closing remarks, please, ma'am.
Thank you, Mark. That shore-based scholarship is just $2,500 US. You guys do the math from all the money that shore-based would be taking or making in Guyana. Anyway, guys, thank you again for staying with us and, watching this show. I want to thank you, Mark, for having me here. It's always a pleasure coming here and, speaking to you guys and educating the Guyanese people. We need to keep informed, keep ourselves informed about what the government of Guyana is doing. People need to wake up. And, I think Wayne is also doing a good job with, helping to edify the people in Guyana so that you'll always be aware of things that, pops up every now and then. And now you're aware that there's allegations of sexual exploitation. We know that this has been going on for a while in Guyana, but now it's gaining international attention ever since the fire. And now we understand why Priya Manachan has been quiet regarding her responsibilities to the school, or she hasn't been taking any actions at all as it relates to the school, even though she is the so-called minister, and I put quotation mark, minister of education, or supposed to be the minister of education. So guys, I want to say again, thank you all for the support. Every time I come here, I have to mention that because there's so many of you who still send my number to your friends, your family, whoever it is. And, I want to always come here and express my gratitude to all of you who've been doing the work for me, who've been sending out my phone number, giving it, referring me, sending your friends, your families, whoever it is. And I want to say thank you even to those of you who tell the people that you're referring that I am either your family or your friend. It doesn't matter to me. I am still grateful. And thank you guys so much. And have a blessed night. Stay woke, people of Ghana. Stay woke.
It matters to me. I have a lot of relatives, and it's good to do good things for people, though. It doesn't matter wherever people go. If they want something done and they say we're related, it's all right. People. I guess when Mr. Caesar starts his private, who knows? Well, he does a lot of pro bono work, tax time for people as well. Tax season, all the experts we have, we do a lot of good things here for people. Sorry, we're beating our own trumpets here, but lots of good things indeed. Mr. Caesar, the accountant, who knows, maybe a future minister of finance in Guyana. Who knows, sir? Your closing remarks, please.
Well, Mark, thank you for having me tonight. Ms. Washington, it was a pleasure sharing the platform with you. It's always been a pleasure sharing the platform with you. Mark, emancipation is upon us. And
You mean in Guyana?
Yes.
Emancipation?
Yes, Mark.
Wow, I didn't see anything. I don't know what. Yeah.
Are you
Wow.
aware of that, Mark?
Yeah,
Or
you're aware
Shalom
of it now.
also?
Miss Washington, did you
Emancipation is
know
upon
that?
us in Guyana.
1 second. Did you know that in a few days is emancipation in Guyana?
Yes.
And nothing
August
from the
1st.
corrupt racist regime? Thanks for reminding us, Mr. Caesar. Wow.
Yeah, emancipation is upon us. And I just want to remind all Guyanese, and when I say all Guyanese, I'm talking to all 6 ethnic groups, because we would have all benefited from emancipation. And it's because of that struggle, okay, by our foreparents that we were gifted and placed in the position that we are today. And I just want to ask the question to everyone, what are you doing for the future generations? Because look what's happening in our country, and many of us are just sitting down passively and we're taking it for granted. We need to wake up. We need to stand up for our country. We need to stand up for what's right. We have generations to come behind us. We have children, grandchildren. Let's not be selfish, okay? Because we would not have been here if our ancestors were selfish. So let's follow them here. Let's not forget their struggle. Many would have lost their life. Okay, many. They didn't even ask to be, enslaved in Guyana, because we talk about slavery a lot, and sometimes we get mixed up. There's a difference between slavery and enslave. Enslave is when you're being asked to do work and working under inhumane conditions, without your permission. Slavery, a lot of people, you would get their permission and they would work for you. So there's a difference between slavery and being enslaved. And our ancestors, they were being enslaved. Okay, and they would have tried to rebel so many times that they were tied up together, Mark, in close proximity of each other, breathing the same air, suffocating. Let's think of that as emancipation come. Let's think about the struggle that they would have went through. Don't let's just go out and have parties and, oh, it's a holiday, I'm going out, I'm going to the movies. No, parents, sit down, teach your children about the significance of that struggle and where it has brought us as a people. We need to get out there. We need to go back to the values of the past. Yes, the world is moving. The world is moving from a technological perspective. It is moving. We can keep up with the world, Mark, when it comes to technology, but we cannot forget our values. We cannot forget our values. We need to go get back to our values, man. That's my closing remarks. Mark, thank you. And again, thank you, Shalon, and thanks to everyone for listening.
Well said, Mr. Caesar. Appreciate that very much. Get back to the value. Our foreparents were enslaved, and there's still slavery going on in Guyana. Coming from the top, the installed regime is slavery. The minimum wage, the pension, it's just slavery. You terminated the services of 3,000 plus or 4,000 workers, civil servants. Shame on the PPP regime. It's emancipation time and there's nothing from the regime. They round up a few people and give them some pittances and that's it. But no proper planning, no celebration, nothing from the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. Absolutely nothing. But watch, they're going to run out and put up some flags and beat some drums and then call it the big celebration. The Ice Pass Persons of African Descent. Ms. Washington, thank you so much for your time as always. Mr. Wayne Caesar did say that there's a difference between enslaved and slavery. I know we've gone over 10 minutes on this time. I hope the latter doesn't apply to us here at 107.1 FM. But you guys have really been overworked. You think he's sending a hint at me there? You guys have really been overworked here on 107.1.
Mark, when it comes to edifying the people of Guyana and people that we love our people, we love everyone who listens in on this show. We're never tired. I'm never tired, and I know Shalon is never tired because she always comes on the show and she's always so energized, way more energized than I am.
Yes. Right now, her hand is on the button to click and say, "Hey, good night, guys." Right now, it's on the button right there. Thank you so much, Miss Washington. Please give my regards to your staff there at Washington's law firm, and thank you guys so much for all that you do as well. You can click the button now. Good night, and God bless you. Watch how quick. 30 seconds.
Good night, everyone. See you,
gone.
Mark. Good night.
She's gone, and Wayne is gone as well. And I'm about to go, but you guys, thank you all so much. We will see you guys tomorrow right here on 107.1 FM. And again, we want to say kudos to Mr. Roysdale Ford. Another victory, another victory. Congratulations to you, Mr. Roysdale Ford, winning that case. We have read that the PPP now wants to take it to the CCJ. Let them go. Let them take it there. In the meantime, somebody said that, you know what? Take for example, Guyana is in a bottle. We're all in this bottle, and the PPP has us in a bottle. We got to remove ourselves from that bottle. I don't know what the person meant, but I just thought I share that bottle is Guyanese. Guyanese are in that bottle, and we've got to remove ourselves from that bottle. Some of you may want to interpret it in any other way, shape, and form. It's okay. But shame on the PPP regime. Shame on them. Let me just say thank you all, every single one of you who have tuned in with us this evening. Keith Beresford, and Gail and Brenda Braithwaite and P. Alicock and Anne Elizabeth Kit, Rastaman. Good evening to all of you. Chisel Chipper. Oh, Chisel was us. Ian Williams and the entire crew. Bernadette James, all of you. Colin Barnwell, Shondell Griffith, you name it. We got lots and lots of people who are on with us. We appreciate you guys, Elroy and Roxanne and the whole crew. Good evening to all of you. We've got to go. We'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time. And don't forget, we got to ensure that Biden gets that second term. But Biden got to do better on immigration. Biden asylum policy blocked again. He has taken a hardline approach on asylum seekers. And we thought that this would have been a bit different, easier. I'm not saying anybody could just rush in. But the way to get the asylum now, once you reach the border, is way difficult now. And Biden administration has maintained that we need to see some action on immigration. A lot of people have been waiting to be reunited with their families, their loved ones for many, many years, 15, almost 20 years. It is a human rights violations, and these things have to be addressed. For example, if someone filed for their family back home and a child is under 21 and the child becomes 21, all these things have to be taken into consideration. And it's just unfair to family members who have to wait all those years just to hear from immigration. One of the things that probably that the U.S. would want to address in Guyana is that backlog of immigration cases, especially family cases that people got to wait all those years. I suspect that the new ambassador, Nicole, who is currently head of the consular section in Pakistan, she's waiting to be confirmed by the Senate. Not sure when the Senate is going to confirm her, but when she confirms, whether this year or whether next year, and then we say goodbye to Sarah, but Nicole will be there. She is an expert on immigration and visa issues and so forth. And we are hoping that the backlog will be reduced drastically. And so instead of people having to wait 10 and 15 and 20 years, maybe 5 years the most, maybe 6, who knows? I don't know, but hey, who am I, right? But we can't give up on Biden. Some people want us to give up. Forget about that. We can't give up on Biden. I love you guys. God bless you, and God bless our beautiful, beautiful country, Guyana. Beautiful country, Guyana. So long.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington law firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you, so call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Basement, level vibes with another one, straight up, blackness aye, who tell the truth, Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth, Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit, Mark Benskop, straight up from the root, Mark Benskop, who tell the truth, Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth, Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit, Mark Benskop, straight up from the root, Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money, straight up, him attack, educating everybody, big up my friends, and big up my family, turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity, straight up, Benskop stands for unity, one people, one nation, one destiny, free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see, the deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk, boom, who tell the truth, Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth, Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit, Mark Benskop, straight up from the root, Mark Benskop, who tell the truth, Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth, Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit, Mark Benskop, straight up from the root, Mark Benskop, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention, education, liberation, we have to stand